Welcome to the crypto trading channel. My name is Stu. Well, guys, Bitcoin has seen a bit of a bounce, but has Bitcoin bottomed, or is this just a classic bounce off an obvious level waiting for a resistance retest to push lower? Let's dive into some charts for a real quick update before heading into the weekend here. And of course, guys, if you do appreciate my daily market updates, do me a favor and smash up the likes. With that, let's start off on the Bitcoin 4-hour chart here. You guys basically, you guys know I've had this range here mapped out for, well, ever since we bottomed back here, just because structure really hasn't changed with all of this noise inside this bigger channel. These are just smaller channels inside the trending channel, right? And I know this is a bit micro-analyzing and a bit repetitive for some of you guys, but here is where we had a low where we did have a little bit of a bounce because we got a couple green candles on the 4-hour there, and this was our next low. So the highest point between the two is right here at about 77K. So that is actually where my lower high on the trend is. And notice that lower high was not broken. The 5-month downtrend is still intact. So anybody telling you that the downtrend is broken or that the bottom is confirmed, although they could be correct that the bottom could be in this market, it is very, very premature to be claiming things like that if you have any basic understanding of very basic technical analysis and market structure as far as lower lows and higher highs go when confirming a trend, basically. So on the daily, which I'll show you in a minute, it actually looks a lot more obvious, but it is what it is. So as it stands right now, I mean, you guys know in a couple streams ago, I was pointing out the fact that the 4-hour did have this micro trend growing to the upside inside the bigger range, but we were just basically staircasing higher ever since setting our low right here and breaking this microstructure. So basically, this is the level that I was warning about, that if we end up losing that we could end up starting a new downtrend and just basically seeing a bigger rejection, because, I mean, so far we have seen 3 nasty rejections off of my STUBER fib pocket between the 786 and the 886 fibs on this trending resistance. So again, guys, I'm not saying that we need to still be bearish. I'm not saying that we need to go to lower prices. Just at this time, the way the market structure is, we still haven't broke the nasty downtrend that we've been in since October, when we absolutely destroyed the uptrend. And I mean, until that changes, it is what it is, right? So basically, even if you are not bearish, and myself included, basically what we need to do is we need to at least respect resistance retests, because what we generally see is retail traders absolutely do not respect resistance whatsoever. And you can see it on the long short ratio indicator, which I'll get into in a minute. But what can we expect on the 4-hour? Basically, a couple of things to watch for at this point, which I have laid out. One, the fact that we broke this micro trend here, that confirms this as a bearish pivot right here. I'm going to make it yellow here. So that basically is a confirmed bearish pivot just on the immediate trend here. Now, what we have since that, and again, micro analyzing, but what it is there we got our little bounce. So we set a little low and we set a micro lower low there. So once again, confirming a lower high on the trend at approximately, well, let's just call it 71,666, just to make it a nice number there. But yeah, basically, until we end up breaking that, if we do end up breaking that, that would be a great sign, because then, hey, we're breaking the new micro downtrend. At that point, it's possible that we end up testing higher. And honestly, guys, just the fact that, like I was just saying, we have tested the STUBER fib resistance pocket so many times, it may just be tapping away at that, getting ready to break out. Unfortunately, if that happens, we still aren't totally out of the woods quite yet, because we still have that swing fail territory up to my 115 fib, which is up here, which actually lines up perfectly with the daily confirmed trending lower high, which again, I'll get into in a sec, but it is what it is. So at least what we need to see the bulls do is end up breaking that micro resistance. Then we might see some sort of a support retest followed by higher prices, or maybe we just start staircasing higher, which that would be great as well. But so far, it is what it is. We lost our uptrend. We still have a continued macro downtrend. And basically, yeah, it is what it is until we end up breaking some resistance levels, unfortunately. And just to bring up a few indicators to kind of see what's going on. And actually, one reason why I really don't think that the bulls are in too bad of shape right now is if I bring up the Oracle Pro Plus indicator here, you can see that we have recently got this bullish cross. So even obviously it takes a little time for that momentum to switch over, but we are seeing these flip green. Now, right now, we're struggling with the smaller guy here. But we have our bigger support down below. So even if we do get another push to the downside here, it's very possible that we do end up finding support off of this indicator. We are obviously going to have to see how that plays out, but it's nice to at least see some signs of life from the bulls. And guys, for those of you who are interested in just seeing way more examples of how I am looking at market structure in general, some of my trade setups, guys, I pointed this out on gold actually about a week in advance. I have to go back into a live stream and find exactly where it was. But I think we were trading basically back here and ended up targeting my resistance pocket absolutely perfectly. So even though I don't trade gold, I still look at it with a very unbiased emotional view or unemotional view. And just seeing one of my favorite crypto trading strategies working in the gold market as well and being respected so well is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, like I said, just if you want to see way more examples of how I look at market structure, some of my trade setups, strategies, warnings, and so on, be sure to scan the QR code on the screen to gain access to my private Telegram. My partners at Blowfin are currently giving new members the sign up trading promo until March 22nd. So you have another day or two left to take advantage of their promo while getting free access to my Telegram, where I do share my thoughts as well. So yeah, let's just actually step back a little bit and zoom out a little bit. You guys know I've been talking about this for a while, and so many people talk about the fact that when in doubt, zoom out, and that's supposed to be a bullish thing because, yeah, over time, in general, Bitcoin trades up and to the right. But as far as the current market cycle, I mean, the further I zoom out, and like I was talking about, you know what? Actually, since we started on the 4 hour, let's zoom out a little bit to the daily. As I mentioned, the lower high is a lot more obvious here. It's about $2,500 higher than the lower high on the 4 hour. But this market structure is very clean here. You can see it a lot easier. The fact that we had this low, this lower low, this confirmed lower high at about 79.5, 79.4K. And you can see that where we got rejected here is just another classic STUBER fib, right? We never even got candle bodies closing above the 786. We basically wicked into it and saw a rejection, so far hitting the 0.5 fib target. So that's one target hit already. The next one would basically be the 214 down around 64K. So we will see if we end up hitting that and see if the market can recover, basically. Just like what I was talking about on the 4 hour, we need to break the downtrend before I'm willing to celebrate any sort of, even any signs remotely pointing to the confirmation that the bottom is in. We need to at least break the downtrend before we jump to those conclusions. Because guys, basically, starting with the 4 hour, we're in a nasty downtrend. We never broke that lower high resistance. Zoom out to the daily, we're even further away from breaking the downtrend. We zoom out to the weekly, we aren't even close, you guys. The lower high, the confirmed lower high of the trend on the macro time frame, looking at the weekly chart, is way up at about 98K at this point. So Bitcoin could go for one hell of a rally and still be bearish on the macro time frames. Even where we are right now, so far, there's people celebrating that the bottom is in, and we are just respecting a major support level as new resistance. We've been respecting this retest for 3 weeks now. So I think it's just premature to be celebrating anything at this point, you guys. I mean, a good first step, let's say this week, I know there's a couple days left. Let's say we close this weekly candle above this yellow line. Hey, that would be great. The fact that we actually reclaim that support level, sure, at that point, it's possible that we target back higher towards the top of the range kind of a thing. But so far, we don't have anything showing us anything like that, basically. So just something to be cautious of. Yeah, obviously, when we're looking at the weekly and the daily timeframes, there's plenty of trades to be taken, with these ranges because they are obviously very large. There's plenty of opportunities out there if you have a systematic trade strategy you're comfortable trading. But just understand that even if we get what seems like a very bullish rally, understand that there is still resistance. And if and when we do something like this and end up retesting resistance levels, we need to respect resistance. Because as I was just saying, you guys, most traders do not respect resistance at all due to FOMO. And you can really see those emotions when we look up at an indicator like the MDX algo long short indicator from retail traders. And just notice where my so notice I have the fib pull, basically a bearish fib pull with that same daily structure that I was just showing here. And notice what happens when we ended up testing that 786. That is literally the point that retail traders started building longs. Retail traders love buying resistance and selling support, the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. And everybody knows that you're supposed to be a seller at resistance and a buyer at support. But when that time happens, the charts very much so look like they have momentum, and that really plays with people's emotions. And most traders just cannot resist the temptation to try and trade into a breakout before that breakout is confirmed at all. So, I mean, this indicator does such a great job of just showing that. And the only way that I see any sort of sustainable rally, I've been saying this for a while, you guys, is we need retail traders to start building shorts. We just need the majority to flip short. And I know that a lot of people take that personal when they see that other people are shorting or selling or whatever. People take that very, very much to heart and think that it's a personal attack on them. Whereas they should be looking at it the opposite. The best thing for crypto right now would be for everybody to actually get bearish. And I know, guys, there's so many people on social media saying that everybody's bearish, everybody's leaving, therefore we need to be bullish. Well, guys, here's an indicator. I mean, that's all theoretical. That is all just jumping to conclusions by personal algorithms and stuff like that. When we actually look at the data on an indicator like this, we can see that if retail is all bearish, there's still the majority is long. So that is just I mean, to put it blunt, that's a fucked up level of FOMO that people have if they're bearish and longing the hell out of the market at resistance in anyways, right? So just something to kind of pay attention to there. And just to show you what I mean, this entire downtrend right from that October, right? That October 10th crash that we had here. Look, that's right where we saw retail start longing aggressively right into all-time high resistance. We had a perfect swing fail, and that is where retail decided we need to start longing aggressively into this resistance. And ever since that, we've seen retail traders holding the majority as longs, getting all the way up to 80% retail traders were long, you guys. It's only when retail starts shorting that we start to see these relief rallies. So sorry, my cat's getting pretty pissy right now. But yeah, basically the only way we see a sustainable rally is if people start selling and getting actually bearish and putting their money where their mouth is by putting short positions, just like what we saw back here, right? This is the last time where we saw retail being short heavy for the majority. And notice what the price did. The price went up. Retail starts getting FOMO at resistance and longing, and that's when market makers use that liquidity as fuel for the fire. If retail is short heavy, that's rocket fuel. If retail is long heavy, that's fuel for the fire, right? So the only way we'll see some sort of a sustainable rally is if retail actually gives up and starts shorting this market aggressively. At that point, the market makers can push the price to the upside. Taking a look at Bitcoin on the shorter time frames, guys, this is a STUBER fib that I had actually. Where was that? Right about here. Earlier today, I had mentioned that we had a potential STUBER fib setup, and you can see that we got that, basically came down to the 786. I front ran it a little bit and basically hit my first two targets, right? We hit my 0.5 fib target right here, and then we ended up hitting my 214 target. But my second take profit was actually at about I think it was 70,666, just because I like to front run my targets, obviously, and also front running round numbers. But what happens now? I personally think it's quite likely that we see some sort of a rejection right now, just because we have hit that main STUBER target at the 214 Fibonacci there. And guys, some of you guys here with me right now may know exactly why the 214 is my main target for a Stuber fib setup. And guys, that is because if I pull a bearish fib from where we started this little, basically from where the top is of the bullish fib pull, right? Let's pull a bearish one from there to where we have bottomed so far. And notice where we ended up topping out so far. Basically came up to the 786, the 786. Well, the 214 fib is very close depending how the ranges vary in size. But basically the 214 is the opposite of the 786, right? So often those levels line up very close like that. So I think it's quite likely that we end up pushing to the downside a little bit from here, but time will tell. But that's kind of the thought behind taking profits at the 214 like that. I do want to actually let me catch up on the chat. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Again, guys, if you do appreciate these live streams, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, if you actually trade the charts for what they are rather than trading, you know, well, as I say, trade charts, not tweets, right? So if you guys would rather trade the charts for what they are currently, rather than hopium that you think the charts will do a few months from now, based on thinking that you can understand the entire global economy easier than a few colorful lines. You know, that's just the way I see it. It's so much easier to make mistakes when you start analyzing the entire global economy. I'd always just look at very basic market structure. As traders, it'll go so much further than looking at any sort of announcements, anything like that. So I generally avoid announcements. Even FOMC meetings, all that stuff. I generally, what I pay attention to those things for is to notice when volatility could be expected, but I'm not going to try and guess a direction unless the chart structure actually backs that up. So yeah, anyways, is this fib indicator just a typical fib or is it custom by you? And if so, is it public on TradingView? I am just using a typical Fibonacci retracement tool. I've just changed the numbers to the numbers that I personally like, but just based on this trade setup that I've been using for the last couple of years. But yeah, that's just a typical Fibonacci retracement tool there. Is there another long short retail indicator on TradingView? I don't know, to be honest. I just use the one on the MDX algo dashboard. Hopium to the downside. It will happen though. It very well could, but and honestly, I'm with you. I would love to see the price push lower, but yeah, you just be ready for anything. If crypto has taught us anything over the last couple cycles, absolutely anything is possible. And there's a lot of people not willing to accept that their theories could be wrong. And honestly, it was just 5 months ago, October 10th, when we had the unthinkable happen. And people love to say that, oh, that can't happen. Oh, crypto can't hit those levels again. Oh, crypto has bottomed. There's no way we're going lower. Understand that anything is possible in this market. Anybody saying that something can't happen, they are openly admitting to you that this is their first cycle. Because anybody who's been here for more than one cycle knows that in crypto, absolutely anything can happen. And that's fine if it's your first cycle, but the market will remind you. And October 10th was a perfect example. So that shouldn't have left people's memory that quick, but it has for a lot of people. So taking a look at a few altcoins, guys. I was talking about Ethereum and basically earlier this week, one thing that I was looking for was this typical Stuber fib setup. The fact that we had this high and our next high was up here, lowest point between the two right here at my yellow line. So note, and then I had also pointed out the overlapping confluence of this, this red candle down here, basically acting as an order block. I'm actually going to adjust it very slightly just because I want to go on the candle body there. But that green order block there overlapped perfectly with my Stuber fib pocket. I mean, I shouldn't say perfectly, but it did overlap a good chunk of it. And notice that the price came down, tapped the 886 absolutely perfectly, finding support so far off this Stuber fib as well as this order block. So far playing out nicely. Trump still getting rejected after I had mentioned that there was this bearish STUBER here. Just seeing a typical rejection there. And as I said, I think it's quite possible we erase this entire sharp move to the upside, because this coin does that all the time. When it gets those big aggressive rallies, they generally lose steam and slowly bleed out. And that's exactly what we're doing. I don't know if we're going to find support on the STUBER fib. I personally am not bullish on this coin whatsoever for many reasons. So I'm not interested in the longs, but if we get a nice aggressive bounce, I would start looking for shorts again, basically. Aster is another one I've been talking about recently, and actually mapped out this other setup, this smaller range here. A couple of streams ago, it might have been Monday or so, but basically I was talking about the fact that here is where we had a high. We had a higher high, even though it's just a wick, we still went higher, confirmed a higher low on the trend. And right now we are currently trading in my support pocket. I do have a bit of a long going on Aster right now. I have 2 more orders set in my green box down here. It's very possible it takes a loss. Right now it is in a very small loss. That's totally fine. We're going to have to see how it plays out. But I do have my invalidation below this 115 here, because I think that if we do lose that micro range, just the current range that we're trading in, I think it would make sense that we would come and retest support of the whole move, basically with the fib pull from our current bottom down here. So basically the micro trend, we have these support pockets here. If those fail, I would expect to go back to support of the entire swing, basically, is my thought process there. Getting into the degenerate side of myself, taking a look at very low cap meme coins. You guys know that troll coin is my favorite as far as meme coins go, and I have been a buyer basically between 0.014 and 0.013. I have been buying aggressively, but understand, guys, I am treating this for what it is. Meme coins are nothing but a gamble, in my opinion. Very high risk, especially when they have a low market cap, something like a $13 million market cap here. Very risky. However, we are trading at a nice support level, and we have flipped some resistance into support so far. If we drop this floor, drop this green box, I think it's very possible this just dumps 30 or 40% very quickly. But so far it is what it is. Support is support until it's broken. Just want to take a look at gold. Like I said, I had laid out this resistance setup and this potential support setup just because of how market structure worked, right? The fact that here we had our high, higher high, confirmed higher low. We broke that. Therefore, we confirmed this as our bearish pivot. Just like here, we had our little bounce. So we had a low, lower low, confirmed lower high, which we broke here. And that confirmed this as our bullish pivot. So between these 2 white lines, that is the range that gold is in. It's absolutely massive. Gold is acting more like a cryptocurrency with this range that is, what is the size of this? I mean, that's a 30% range. Absolutely huge for gold, you guys. So far, I personally don't even trade gold. I'm only looking at this because one of my Telegram members often requests it. So here's what I'm looking at. Technically got from my bearish STUBER resistance area, rejection perfectly. And so far we came right down to the support STUBER fib. So playing out beautifully there. The S&P 500, I haven't even looked at this chart in a long time, but I mapped this out a couple of 2 or 3 weeks ago for you guys. Basically that we had a bearish STUBER forming with potential rejection lining up. And that's exactly what happened. So far, we just have a trend of lower lows confirming lower highs, basically. So right now, the confirmed lower high on the micro trend is my yellow line here, right around 66.40. So for this downtrend to be invalidated, we would need to at least take out that level, either start staircasing higher, something like that, or even to break that level, come back and retest support. I'd feel a lot better about that. But so far it is what it is. We just have a nasty downtrend. Just catching up on the chat a little bit. And yeah, so another thing is, like you said there in the chat, generally bottoms last many months before a bull market. So even if the moon boys are correct and we have confirmed a bottom on the trend, I think the theory about going parabolic and just blasting off to new all-time highs anytime soon is a little ridiculous. I think if it is the bottom of a bear market, I think it'll take some time to heal before the market can make its next move to the upside. But again, I'm open for anything. As a trader, it's very important to be willing to be wrong, right? The sooner you are willing to accept the fact that there's a good chance you're wrong on every trade you take, that's a very good mindset to have, because as soon as you cannot accept the fact that you could be wrong, that's when risk management goes right out the window. And that's when people all of a sudden are no longer trading. That's where people disappear from the market forever, when they toss risk management out the window. Yeah, anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. So one last time, if you do appreciate these live streams, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not. And just as a reminder for those interested in joining my private Telegram channel, take advantage of the current promo that my partners at Blowfin are giving new signups to gain free access into my channel there as well. And with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Thank you so much for watching once again. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out.